Hey, good afternoon. This is Professor with Day Trading for Success. So today we've got a pretty good treat. You don't want to miss this. For one thing, during the broadcast, I'm going to talk to you about how to get 2 free indicators. So stick around for that. Also, you're going to want to watch me build this exact layout here, and then we're going to offer a link to it for free. But I'm going to show you how to build it, all the little tricks to set this up so that you know how to make changes way easier. And this is the one we'll be using for streaming. I'm going to finally announce the date that we are going to go live streaming. It's very soon, so stick around for that. And a couple of other cool things are going down. We're going to show you the verified amount of money that was made through TraderView doing this strategy. So stick around, guys. This is going to be a great video.
Welcome to Day Trading for Success, where the professor, a former math teacher turned full-time trader and coder, guides beginners on how to trade for a living using proven strategies, breakthrough indicators, and lessons from essential trading books. The professor isn't a licensed financial advisor. Always consult a pro before diving into any strategies or demos you see here. Start smart, practice in a simulator, stick to a solid day trading plan, and don't forget to log every trade. Your profits will start with preparation. Thank you for allowing us to share in your journey. Please remember to subscribe, comment, give a thumbs up, and click that notification bell so you can be the first to receive more of our great content.
Hey, welcome back. So this is the layout that we like I just had mentioned, that we're going to be rebuilding. So I'm going to just in a minute get rid of this. I've taken a screenshot just in case I happen to forget. But we're going to go into a couple of other things first. First of all, I wanted to bring this over. This is the account I used for this new strategy, right? So I actually use this account for a couple of other styles of trading, but these 3 months here, as I was getting more and more ready for streaming and developing the strategy, this is what you saw me trade this month, most of this month. So we'll open that up. You can see now some of these days I traded with you, and then I came back and traded more, particularly on the 24th, as you can see. I did more in the power hour. I was showing somebody something. But as you can see, this strategy is very viable. And, and this is just one of the accounts that I traded, and not my main RV strategy that I do all the time. So if you wanted to go into the reports, you can see, the accuracy, 100%, 100%, 90%, 97.87, 86%, 100, 100. That means I never missed a trade. 95, 100. So all the way down here, it's pretty much 100 or 90. And the thing that bothers me more about any of this is that when my accuracy rating goes bad, it's usually because when I went to do the ask or the bid, I got at the wrong spot and I'd get out right away, and it might be like red 50 cents or red $2 or something, and then it would mark as against my accuracy. Those kind of things really get my ire up, so to speak, but what can you do? I mean, really, I'm a perfectionist, right? Maybe a laid-back perfectionist. I don't know. Some people would argue with that. So what difference does it make, right, if I'm making money? But because all the guys around here compete, then, those kinds of things happen. So, but anyway, so the last 30 days on this account, it was really good. And basically, it was just doing this one, right? This month was mainly the way I traded that at the open, finding the intraday channels like I've been showing you, and then trading it this way. So anyway, I just wanted guys to show you the potential of what you could be making. And this was all done with the quarter share size entry. I think the highest I ever went was 800 shares. I think that might have been this day. One of these days I went to 800, but mostly I stayed at 200, and a couple times I went to 400, and sometimes I dropped below. You saw me go down to 50 when I traded Tesla, say. So anyway, I wanted to point that out. Some of the other things I wanted to go to you guys is show you one of the other scripts now that I'm going to be offering for free. So let's get down to, actually, I don't think I have it. I think they're still DTS. Buyer's volume indicator. This was a subscriber, who you know who you are, that said, can you do like the seller's indicator? Can you do one for the buyer's indicator? Now, I thought about that, and it seems like the ScalpMeter Pro down here was so far advanced, it's like, what's the point? But then on the other hand, maybe why he even asked, he doesn't go short, he goes long. And a lot of people only trade long, and a lot of people don't have the PDT, and they're looking for the best time to go long for just 3 trades a week, 4 trades a week. So something like this, what I just created, could come in very handy. So let's take a look at it. And then what I did is I improved the original seller's indicator that's been available for free to did I not put it the same name? Yeah, here it is. I improved that to be something a little bit better. So let's get rid of this other stuff that's in the way here. I'm going to get rid of this whole layout anyway and rebuild it. But I wanted to show you guys this new stuff here. MACD. We'll get rid of the multi-time alignment, ScalpMeter Pro. We'll get rid of that, and then we'll apply these two. All right, so let's go over these because these are pretty cool. Let me open up this chart, and we'll zoom in here. Now, if you've been following me along, you remember a few years back when I put out the seller's indicator and made it available for free across the, the trading world. The people were really excited. For those of you that don't know, I am a coder for ThinkScript on Thinkorswim, and I do a lot of coding for that platform. And I come up with new ideas all the time because I'm a professional trader, and I come up with things that might help people trade. And I think indicators can really do that for you. So let's take a look at this buyer's indicator. Now, this is only showing you the buyers, unlike the ScalpMeter Pro, which I probably should have kept that up so we could show the difference, but it had the buyers and the sellers, and it had a meter and all that. So what I did differently on here too is I'm showing the total volume, how much of that volume is buyers, and what the percentage of that is at any given time. As you can see, it's right at the top. That's why it's saying 90%. So if you were waiting and you're watching momentum grow here, like you saw these start to go up, and each volume and the buyers are near the top, you could have a better. You obviously want to look at other indicators at the same time. You want to look at the patterns. You want to look at historical data. I mean, you can't just count on one thing, but cumulatively, these type of indicators can come in really handy. And the world was simple back then with this indicator. It was actually this indicator that I came out with. And the world was really simple, that you knew where the selling was, and then you could do the opposite if you're a buyer. So now I will make both of these are updated, and they'll say MMC over at the $1 Million Margin Club. And they will be available sometime before the 4th of July over there for free. Remember, there still is the other indicator over there for free that you want to get. So it was basically their idea to do this because they know I give away free indicators, and they want traffic driven to their website. And it's a great idea because it's a win-win, and they're going to send you out the indicator with not just a link, but everything about how to load it, what it actually is, a description, just like when they sell their really cool indicators. So now I don't know if this will be available for free forever, but probably for a good period of time. So those of you that are following along, you should grab these because well, first of all, they're free, so why wouldn't you want to get them? But I do think that they're very, very handy, and they're very cool. And if you see some of my old videos, way back a few years ago, I so relied on the seller's indicator. Now, I did use this up until, on and off up until 3 or 4 months ago, the seller's indicator. And then this ScalpMeter Pro it just was so great, that indicator, that I just started to use that. But I will tell you, there's still two people in the studio that are very short bias, and they even make arrangement to borrow on stocks, momentum stocks. They love this indicator. They use it all the time. So it kind of depends on what kind of trading. But if you're only going to go long and you're looking for that perfect setup, you'd probably want this. You'd want the multi-chart alignment, the market pulse. We'll talk about that as I'm live streaming. I'm sure I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, because I'll be doing it almost every day. I'm not charging anything live stream. It's free, so you can't give me a hard time if I don't show up. There was a couple of reasons why I wasn't going to charge, because I'm always been open share, as you guys know. We don't charge for anything on the channel. But anytime you want to hit that donation thing that they have there, whatever those things are called, and some people do that, that helps. It makes me feel like we're wanted or whatever. I can't think of the right word I'm trying to say, but the other reason why, I never want to charge is because I really value my free time, and I love teaching. It's very fulfilling, but sometimes I just don't want to do it. And the responsibility, it's one of the reasons streaming hasn't started. The responsibility of you guys waiting for me to come on all the time, is just too much. I just didn't want to, I kept pushing it back. So anyway, we're covering these two things. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of other things before we go into building the whole layout with you guys, right? So we were messing around with the streamings this morning. Probably some of you saw it come on accidentally live, because I watched the viewership go up. Suddenly I was watching, and we're talking like, hey, is that live? 4 people, 8 people, 16 people. I was just like, how are all these people coming on? It was like 15 seconds or something, 30 seconds. And I didn't know how to shut it off, and we were trying to figure out, it's like, we're not supposed to be live yet. But anyway, what we were doing is we were checking the latency, so you guys didn't see anything except our faces without the studio lights on. You probably saw Alan here too, but instead you saw horror. It was like, we're not ready to go live. So what I didn't understand is when you're going through, now on Zoom, there is no delay. There's a split second that people can see me trade. Hang on just 1 second. But on YouTube, they have like a buffering delay that I can't. There's no way to get around it. We were talking with ChatGPT. We were watching a bunch of YouTube videos. We were calling friends that have stations that stream. What do you do? And it seems like, and I'm not 100% sure, we're still looking into it, there is no way to get around a small delay. So then what we did is we went into the settings of OBS to go through OBS to stream, and we tweaked everything to make it the fast, because it started out like 14-second delay. So how is that going to be when I'm calling the trades and you don't hear them for 14 seconds? That would absolutely suck worse than gravity. So it's kind of like trading with the sim on Thinkorswim. It often has really bad problems. And it had nothing to do, because, we checked the computer speed, and it actually said that we could run multiple streamings at the same time, no problem. So it has nothing to do with the computer or, the latency coming to the studio from the streets outside. So it has everything to do with YouTube. And then as far as OBS, we tweaked it to the max of everything you can do to make it have less delay when you see it. So it looks like it's going to be between 5 and 8 seconds. We couldn't get it to be faster than 5. We never saw it slower than 8, and it fluctuated. Well, that's a good deal of time. So I'm bothered by that. If anybody out there knows a way on YouTube to make that not happen, please tell me. Please put it out there, and I will try everything I can. Otherwise, I think how I quarterback, I'm going to do it a little bit differently, where I'm going to really call out the levels. I pretty much do that. I'm looking to turn around here. You hear me say that. I'm looking to turn around at the $0.50, and then I'm looking to add to my share size at the whole dollar or at this level. What will be missing is those quick, you see me take those short scalps that just like don't get greedy, and like in 3 seconds I'm in and then out. And that would happen before you get to see me. You'd see me go in, and then I'd be out almost before you see me go in. You know what I mean? So I don't know how well this is going to work. Because this is a very fast scalping, so I'm hoping that this is going to work. Because if it doesn't, it might not. We might not want to continue, which sucks, I know. Or keep in mind too. Remember this is all because of the RV strategy originally, where the big money is made with the large channels, and I hold longer. So it definitely would work with the RV strategy, right? But the problem where we nailed down where people were not doing as well most people were doing very well on the RV strategy, but there were some that weren't, some people struggling. And from email conversations with them, I'm not getting into a mentor situation, guys, but I did talk to at least a dozen people that were struggling, at least to try to get a handle on what was happening. And every single one was, they didn't really understand scalping. It's like, you see me make long moves, but when you're on your own, you have to define that channel size, and it can get pretty tight, and you need to be able to scalp. If you don't have scalping skills and seeing the order flow, and it can't just be historical data. It can't just be fib levels. It can't just be candlestick patterns. And channels, like the book calls all that stuff out, but it also has a section about level 2 and how, basically what it's for and how you read it, and what traders look for. It's not the same as momentum, but you're still looking for that order flow. And if you've been watching these videos, you see how sometimes I'm fully intending to go in, you hear me talk about it, I don't like it. I don't like I'm watching the order flow going up and down, even though it's large cap. It's not where it's going to get, the shares are going to stop something and you're looking for that, for a big bump to get over, and it's winding up. It's not that on large cap. That's very rare. It's a whole different kind of thing you're looking for. And I've been trying to explain it. Like if you're getting ready to average in larger in your position, say you're going long, you're getting ready to average in, and the price keeps going against you, right? And you're looking at doubling your share size, right? So that your position suddenly gets down lower to where the price is, right? At the same time, you have more risk. But if that order flow is always dropping a little bit more than going up as it's going down, and it only like a split second can maybe get you out if you average more of your position, and if it's just going the wrong way and there's no big support, remember you're going up, and there's no big support to turn that around. There's a lot of things you look at, but the order flow, sort of like higher highs and lower lows, it's like on level 2. You're kind of watching those prices, and if it's doing, like on Tesla, for instance, you could just burn you. You think it's going to come back because it just came back the last 10 times. And then you average more in, then you average more. Now suddenly it's lower than it's ever been, and that whole order flow kept going down, even though it came back up. Never really gave you an opportunity to get out. So a couple things you can do in a situation like that. You can average in even maybe your full size, like really fast, and just wait for a bump and get out. Often that leads to a much less loss than continuing to ride it down. But you have to be ready, and you have to have full intention if you're averaging in half or full just to get the heck out, that you need to get the heck out. Don't get all excited when it bumps up, and it was like, oh, it'll keep going. Because if it's been doing it against you, assume it will continue. And that's why, watching that for the short moves, it's hard to get into that danger area, right? You'll see me about to average in more shares, but I don't. I wait for it to go like 50 cents or $1, because it gives me a lot more time to watch that order flow and to not get in a worse position. And often it's going against you, and as it's getting down to the position, it starts to reverse and then suddenly go up more than down, up more than down. That's when you get in. That's when you average in, because now it's working for you. You're not looking for the lowest low. If this flow starts to turn around, it's so far away. I hope you're following what I'm saying. I mean, it's getting complicated as I explain with my hands, but I mean, for those of you that have been kind of are 75% there watching these practice videos, you probably get what I mean. And that's why I don't always buy the dip. I don't always average in more at the lowest point. I average in more after it's gotten away from my price and it's starting to go back up the right way. Just little bits, but just shows that it's moving more my way rather than less my way. So that's the kind of thing that it's really hard to teach the visual of what you see as those numbers are rolling by so quickly. It's really hard to see, really hard to teach, but you can start to see it, like the picture in the picture thing. I mean, you can start to see it. It sounds silly, I know, but when you keep trading day after day, you just get a feel for it. And everybody, and of course, each trading style is different. So I'm talking about this particular trading style, right? Which is scalping, okay? Particular kind of scalping of large cap that we're going to be doing here. So that in mind, because I always have to have a caveat, like not everything's the same everywhere, but with that in mind, you eventually you'll see me. I mean, I'm running, what was it, 92%. You'll see that's not just because I'm fantastic. That's any single person could do what I'm doing. You guys can do what I'm doing. You just got to get there and get into that flow and give yourself time and patience. I totally believe you can do it. Absolutely believe. I am not any better than anybody else. Just practiced, and then maybe my confidence level is higher than the average. Maybe. But it wasn't always that way. So, when you learn something enough times, and when you do something enough times and you learn repetitiveness, you don't even think about it as confidence. You just think about it like, oh, I know what that's going to do. And then you just have to trust yourself, to do that and be patient. So there endeth that lesson. So remember, I will make these available. It's not right now, but sometime. I know that everybody's working on the emails to get out. There's a lot of emails that came in. So it's every intention is to send every single person a response. But I wanted to let you know that we are looking for the date right after the 4th to live stream. And that's what we're shooting for. I think we will make that date, no problem. Why I say with hesitation is, so that is the... I'm just opening my calendar here. I just want to make sure I get this right. So that is the 7th of July, but there is a chance we will be on the 4th earlier than the 4th of July, because we will be practicing with streaming even before you might get an email. So I wanted to point out that you need to have your alerts on if you're interested in this. Have your alert on that you get a streaming notification if you're interested. And we may be, to get the streaming working properly, we may just come on, but it might not be on for very long, back and forth, so you could see it. We can wave to you, whatever. Might just, and then we can kind of check the latency and stuff. So some of that will be going on before the 4th of July, and we'll be continuing to work to get everything out and get the proper streaming messages. It is going to be a work in progress once we start to stream, so go easy on the criticism. But we want your comments on the video, anything that's constructive to help us, especially if you're watching a lot of streaming. I don't really watch a lot of streaming. So if you're like a streaming expert and these other people are doing things that we're not doing, and it's constructive and you're not, saying we're idiots or something, remember, guys, be nice, please. Just people sometimes, I don't get it. But, we want to hear. We definitely want to hear. So, but look for us on the 7th. Look for your email next week, hopefully before the 4th. 4th of July being an American holiday. And I know a lot of you are not from America, so I'm referring to an American holiday. So that's the whole weekend. That weekend, it kind of goes through. Everything is shut down and closed in America. Anyway, so yeah, guys, remember to look for these, and remember to look for that email. The other thing, it might get spammed to you. So there are so many that a bunch of people that do bulk mailing told us, because we don't have that chimp mail or whatever those things are. I don't have a service And the $1 Million Margin Club doesn't either. And they have a bunch of people that got on a mailing list long before the $1 Million Margin Club's mailing list, that were contributors to the books and helped edit it and stuff, that have been told from the very beginning that when the professor, that they sponsor goes live, they would let everybody know. So those are going out too. So you may get duplicate emails if you're part of that membership there, and then if you're emailing Day Trading for Success here. They are two separate entities, even though we talk in concert a lot. So yeah, just expect a lot of stuff's going down. It's since we're still trading every day, since I still have a studio, since I'm still, working with the students in the Bahamas, since, I still do operate some businesses, I'm busy, and I'm trying to put this all in and get everything out as quickly as I can. And honestly, I thought for a while I was never going to stream, just because of fully intending to, a year ago, and just everything got in the way. And now this is the latest thing with this whole latency thing. Just seems awful, because Zoom doesn't have that. So I can't believe that YouTube, can't solve that problem. So maybe there is something I don't know. You guys know something, let me know about that. What you can, how to that might help us. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this one off and come back in a second. Hey guys, a day has passed since I cut off there, so it is now Sunday, because I realized I had dinner plans, so I had to bug out. But I'm back now to finish up this, to get this layout ready for you guys. Hopefully you won't just download the layout that I've built, but maybe you'll build it yourself based on what I've shown you, so that you can quickly make adjustments, because not everybody, you might not want to trade exactly like how I have it. You might want things bigger on your screen, or to not have some charts, or, you know what I mean. So you do want to kind of customize it for yourself, but if you just want exactly what I have, it will be there. But keep in mind, the link for it will be on this video. But keep in mind, I will probably change it from time to time. So if you don't know how to do it, then I'm not going to make a link for every single time I change it. So that's all just another reason why you should learn. Now, I have a lot of videos out that show how to build different layouts, and I've given a lot of layouts for free. And I know that the $1 Million Margin Club now has the layout that the professor's going to be using for streaming over there, which they said they really wanted to do it because they know it's going to be popular. So over there, you can have the layout that I'm about to give you for free. What it won't have is packed with all the custom indicators that they will have in it. So if you just want to just give it as a present, or you just want to get ready and go, you just spend the money, buy it, import it in, everything will be set up for you, ready to trade, just like I'm trading. Again, I may bring in other indicators and stuff as time goes on, and I am going to be discussing on this video, after I've built this, what I believe are the perfect indicators to have, the best indicators to have for like the perfect entry and the perfect exit, and how to read price movement and book movement and chart movement of price action for large cap, mega cap scalping specifically. Okay, so what I have, right, so we're going to begin with this right now. So what I have here is, well, actually one more thing. So every video you'll be seeing this come up, and that'll be up for a few minutes, basically disclaiming me from all responsibility, that you know that this is an entertainment channel, that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and under all the rules of this is a pretty, not as normally as you see from other traders, because I have already been sued. I've actually been sued more than twice, but some others were immediately dismissed. So when I say I've been sued twice, I mean ones that we actually had to defend and spend money rather than just get it dismissed instantly. And we won both times. And it was basically about people saying they didn't know, even though they did know. So there was some videos, just to be full disclosure, that I had forgotten to put it as clearly as I have them now. So they were basically taken down from the channel. And those are going to be the ones that come in as historical now. I'm now allowed to put those back in. However, they're so embarrassing, the older ones. I'm not sure how many I want to put in, because they're they're pretty sketch and scary when I was learning myself, because keep in mind, in my defense, Thinkorswim was new to me, right? I had traded on so many other platforms, and when I first got to Thinkorswim, it was just like so many choices, so many. It seems so not intuitive, right? But as with anything, when you learn it, then you really get to see all the possibilities it has. They don't seem like overwhelming. You're really happy that it has all these choices. But at first, it was like, I don't need all this stuff, So you would see that in any of the classic series that is going to be put out. But anyway, so you'll get this disclaimer. The other thing you're going to get is this, and let's go over these. This will come up for just briefly on every video. Now, this is a little different than rules you may have seen. Now, most of them are here. Trading rules for large cap stocks, for large cap scalping. Trading rules for large cap scalping. Okay, so I'm going to read them all for you. Set a goal for the day and stop when you reach it. Know your setup before you enter a trade. Only enter with 25% of your max position. Only add to your position when price flow has started to move back in your direction. Set a max loss per trade. Set a max loss per day. Log every trade and describe why you took it in your log. Make money in a simulator for at least 30 days. If you're nervous, lower your share size. Do not follow anyone's trades. Do not overtrade to make back your max loss. Do not trade because you are bored. Now, I'll go into a little bit more. This is almost just common sense, right, for most of us. It's easy to know them. It's not easy to do them. That is the problem, because you do get emotionally hijacked. That's why they have something called trader rehab. And, especially I talked about my accuracy level a video or so ago. It's almost like it can work against you, because you get so used to being to bail out by adding more to your position. If you're only going in 25%, here's the danger. And most people would say never, ever add to your position, ever. So, you just get in one share size, and there's a lot of common sense logic to that. However, I don't believe that's for every type of trading. But if you do not think you can control yourself, if you are not, that's mostly why they say never do that, because people can't control themselves. And you most likely are one of those people, because we all are. So if you're the guy that can control a girl, person that can control themselves all the time, well, you are the best trader in the world, because none of us can do it. We all get hijacked. And then, when it goes bad, I said before, you feel like you don't know anything about trading, you can't trade, and you really need your friends around you, or somebody that's your trader rehab person, that talks to you about, remember all the stuff we talked about, how good it was going, how accurate we were. Look at the overall. How have you been this month? How have you been the last 6 months? Are you plus? Let's talk about exactly why you took that trade and why that did go bad for you. How did it get so bad? How did you let that go so bad? Now we just need to work on stopping that. That doesn't mean you need to stop trading. You need to stop that type of behavior, right? But you will convince yourself that you're worthless. It's somewhere in the beginning of that conversation. And a lot of people never come back to trading. They get a big loss and they're just like, it's not for me. And they go through life dejected and feeling awful. Not everybody. I'm definitely generalizing, please, guys. But, I'm just trying to get I know how I have felt, and how having good friends around me have helped me, and also just looking back at my own stats, something like TraderView. I'm not affiliated with that yet. I think I'm going to try to be, but looking back at your stats and studying, how long did you hold the trade? Are you holding losing trades longer than winning trades? Things like that. It has all those stats. And you can really, much more than that, you can really figure it out. Record your sessions. I don't even have that here. I say log every session, but it's the same thing. You need to record. If you record, it's like logging in a way, so you can go back and understand where, what's going. Here it is. I couldn't find the line. But going back to this, the reason I entered this, it's a different style of trading, right? Most people say never do this. The way I look at it is, you're being extremely conservative, very conservative, opposite of what people are worried about, by entering it only 25% of what you want to enter it at. So you're extremely conservative. And if the price action goes against you, you're adding to your position only then. You go up to 50% of your position, right? And you're still not to the position that you originally wanted to get into, right? You're still extremely conservative. Well, look, I'm only putting in risking half of what I wanted to. Now, you could argue the price action's going against you. So is that really the same thing? I think it is, because of this one thing right here. This is the next thing that works with this. If you're, as you add, right, and the price actions move so much against you that this triggers, well, you have this wins. This trumps it all. Get out. You're out. You know, you'll see me wait a long time before I'll go to 50% of the position, because you can make money at 25% of the position. You can make your goal more safely, but at least it gives you the opportunity to save a trade if it's going against you. You know, you save a trade, you know, ultimately you make more money, and it works for this style of trading. Obviously, anything can go against you, and if you're just constantly hitting max loss, you need to try to figure out, you know, when is it because I'm adding to 50%? When did I add? Then you start to think about, when did I add? Because if you added and it always, you still hit your max loss, something's terribly wrong of when you're adding. So we're going to talk about that a lot. I've already touched on some of it on the practice videos, and I really recommend you guys watch those. I'm sure I'll have a couple of more this upcoming week before we stream, and then we will have conversations as we're streaming about it. But this is one of the keys to success. Do not look at it in fear as your enemy. This is one of the keys to success right here for this type of trading that I'm going to be showing you to do. But you have to control yourself. And we'll talk about the price flow when it's started to move back in your direction. I think I covered on that a little bit earlier in this video. But I mean, you're watching, you don't really want to add as it just goes straight against you constantly. You know, you can look at historical levels that you're trying to bounce off of and maybe take a risk right then. But then if it keeps going, just get out. You've lost. Get out of the trade. Don't try to make it a winning trade. And that's where people go wrong with this. And that's why they say never do it, never do it. You know, so it does come with some responsibility. I believe it's more conservative. But if you are a person that you don't think you can control yourself, or the statistical data is showing that you can't control yourself, then don't trade like that. Never add. I would never add. I would just try to, and you might want to only go long, and just go. You know, that's easier. That'll become easier not to add if you're only going one way and it goes against you, and you're like, I can't. I'm not going short and long, and I'm not channel trading. I'm only trading from the bottom of the channel to the top of the channel. It kind of changes the way I would look at this. But if you're actually scalping short and long, this is the secret, one of the secrets to making money on this, and you'll see me do it. I don't do it all the time, guys. But anyway, so these are the rules. There's been a lot of thought, and a lot of other traders help me tweak these. You might look a little different than what you normally see, but you're probably up on the basic rules of max loss per day, max loss per trade. I do not have on here 3 trades in a row, you lose. If you lose, then get out, stop trading. This is going to supersede that. If you have hit it, then you need to stop. You need to stop, and don't try to come back. Don't say, well, I that was 2 hours ago. Now I'm going to come back with a whole new attitude and get back after I've hit my max loss. You shut that computer down. You're done. You'll be able to recover way easier the next day and the next day and the next day. But if then you suddenly double or triple or quadruple, and you say to yourself, what went wrong? What went wrong? I mean, if you go back and trade right then, you've been hijacked. It's already too late. You're already gonna, and if you actually succeed, it's probably the worst thing that could ever happen for you, because it's giving you a terrible lesson. Now, the reason that I pound down on all these things is because I have made all these mistakes, and the traders around me have done all the things you're not supposed to do. That's how I know them so well. Well, I am not speaking like I'm above you. I'm speaking like somebody who has been destroyed by these things. So somebody with knowledge, and it's going to happen to all of us. So you just got to get back on the horse and say, I messed up. I never should have broken the rules. I'm going to take 2 weeks off. I'm going to do something. I got to get my head straight. What am I thinking? Am I not getting enough rest? And I'm just going to briefly touch on that. I'm sure I'm boring some of you. I'm going to get to the platform in just a second, but are you getting enough sleep at night? Like if I don't get 6 hours sleep, I won't even trade. So it's a big deal to get the right amount of sleep. So 6 hours sleep, every morning I am working out before I hike, and then I hike for 45 minutes. I get up at 5, and I shouldn't say every morning. I mean, I cheat from time to time, but for the most part, consistently, I work out, I hike, I meditate for a short period of time, and then I start my day, eat something healthy, very, very light in the mornings for me, and then I get into my day of trading with people. So I'm trying to be the best I can be. I don't do it every day. I break down occasionally because it's just the way it is for people, right? And obviously, I'm not going to go into my dietary things and all that. Everybody does what's best for them. But I would do something in the morning that is a ritual that gets you set up for trading. So you're used to like a ritual, like this is me making money. This is how it starts. And, again, common sense. So there's that. So now we're going to get right into the layout. So this is the layout. This is yours is probably going to be white. I have this on TOS old school. So let's get a look at that real quick. So I opened this screen up ahead of time because my accounts show no matter what I do, all these accounts list in a box. I can't figure out how to get rid of them. But basically, you're going into your setup wheel. And then in there, you're opening up application settings. And then down here under look and feel, as you can see, I have mine on old school TOS instead of light. Yours is probably light if you're not used to a dark screen. And just go in there if you're interested in doing this and change it. And the reason I do that specifically is because of level 2 is way more readable. And that's the whole reason I do it. But I really like a dark setup anyway, so you're going to see that that's how I do that. Now the other thing is this is on charts. I go to flexible grid to build these, so I just click here, and this is how this will open. And before we get into this opening up, let's go ahead and open this up. So you're going to have this sidebar here. You can X out your accounts and stuff like that. And then it's going to start with a swap network. Now, a lot of times I have to pre-approve my layouts. I have like Schwab approved or Thinkorswim approved layouts because of the modifications that I do. I am not going to trade with any of those, and I'm not going to show you anything you can't do. So that's what we're going to build here today and what I'm going to be trading with. So it's not going to be any fair advantage. I'm not deflating the football like Tom Brady to win the trading. That's Did I just set myself up for something there? Anyway, I love Tom Brady, so don't take that the wrong way. But I like the fact that he came out in that comedy special and said, if they'd given me that much money, I just would admit it. I deflated the ball. I thought that was so smart. Anyway, I'm off topic. But so anyway, the point is the layout that I'm going to show you, you're going to be able to do. So you're going to see something like this. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do over here, you might want to delete some of these things, but other things you want to do, if you don't want your trades to show up on the screen, go over here and go into the message center. And now all the alerts that come up on your custom indicators or whatever, every trade you take is over here. So at any time, you can open and close this and go to see them. So that's one thing you're going to want to do, unless you like them popping up on your screen, and I hate it. There's other ways to get them off your screen, but this is just the easiest. Plus, you want to be able to look back and see how much did I make on that trade if it happened so fast or whatever. Then left click onto this, and then hopefully you have gotten the scanner, the free scanner settings that I gave away, or you've purchased the one that's labeled. And here it is right here. Under P, this is the teaching scanner that I have. So I'm just going to click there, and then that's going to open up to the stuff that's the way it's going to scan for me. And make sure you have that on, well, whatever color you're linking all yours to. I'm about to show you. I'm going to link all mine to green. Now you can detach this scanner. This is a watch list and a scanner at the same time. So just to show you how that works, you can detach the gadget. Now, I'm not going into how you log in to Thinkorswim. I'm going to assume you guys know how to do that, and where you have a choice to go simulator or not simulator. But this is just, this actually will be like a scanner over here. So, but you still want to scan up here. So, but now in here, you may not want these things typically. So what I would do is, swap network, why is that? So I would get rid of these. So right here you can click, oops, that's the wrong thing. Click here and say delete gadget. That's the one we just put in. That's the one we just put in. What I don't understand is why this is not allowing me to delete it here. The swap network. Oh, there we go. All right, so news, you know, we're going to put the news someplace else. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. And now we're, oh, that's what it is, Trader TV. You just turn it off right here. Okay, so you can click that off if you want. Oh, there it is. Okay. I was like, I knew I could delete that. So this is basically what I will have. I don't usually put a chart in. Sometimes I might put more watch lists, but for the purpose of this, you don't need to do that. So that's the way this would be set up. I talked to you about how I get this dark screen and what it looks like. Now we're going right into, you know, the entire layout and how we're going to break that down step by step. So this is the grid here that you want to do 3 across. Actually, you don't. You want to do 2 across, right? And then we're going to go ahead and put 1 down here. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and finish this chart on the far left by adding 2 more grid spaces. So we're basically making a template, right? And then over here, we're going to add 1 here. This is the one that is going to have the level 2 and stuff. So let's slide this over here to get a little bit more of a look of what we had. Slide this down. I'm just going to show you the grid look. This is the tricky part if you want it just like how I have it. Now you can see that they're all, you know, they're lined up in the right way, but they're, you know, so now we need 5 spaces over here is what you would do. So there's 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are all the different components, and this is the 1-minute chart right here. So that's basically how you set up. Now we'll go ahead and make all of these green. Let's get everything moved. Now the default is a chart. So these are all going to turn into charts as I make them all green. And this green means they're all going to be linked together. Now some people like to have different colors and they're watching a different stock. But for this purposes, I'm basically going to build exactly what you see me trading with, if that's what you want. But this is what's so good is I'm showing you how these things work too. Okay. So we're going to start on this side before we get into any custom indicators, right? I know I do not want a sidebar anymore because this is a chart. Now I have pre-saved styles in here. Okay, so I don't have to build them. So this is a 1-minute style. So I would put in a 1-minute clean. But if you build all the things you want on your charts, then you can just save your style, call it whatever you want, and then go back to it like here, all you want. So rather than me press that in here, I'm going to build it with you, okay? So let's go ahead and build this the way we want to build it. So we're going to go, we'll start off with a 1-minute chart, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and go into the look and feel in here. Oops, what am I doing here? So we'll go into the look and feel over here, appearance. Okay, so we're going to want to fill these candle wicks up here. So fill up. Okay, fill down's already marked. We don't really want the the cursor's fine that color. We don't want the grid. We want the background to be totally jet black like that, so you get a look. And then we're going to end up getting rid of these volume bars, but you would normally click that to get the basic volume bars. And that's how we would start. We apply. Now you have that chart looking a little cooler right in here. Now we're going to want to put in our moving averages and such. So let's open this whole thing up. And for the sake of this right now, just so it looks cleaner, I'll go ahead and get off the customizable grid. And this is kind of what it looks like right now after you've done what I've done. So let's go ahead and now mark the tools on the chart. That's one of the first things I do, is I make sure that they're going to be on each chart. So on each chart, apply. And here they are over here. So I'm going to say OK. And now I'm going to lock those at the top of the chart. And now I'm going to change these tools. Click here, you can change it. So we can keep that as a trend line right here. Here we probably want to make this the panning tool. So pan, right? Actually, I'm going to get rid of this. Let's do it this way. Let's do, how do I have it up there? I have I start with the panning tool. So pan is on that line, and then this is the price. This is why I made a copy of one. I don't want to reinvent this. Price level, and then I think I go fibs. No, I do trend line next and then fibs. So we'll go ahead and add here a trend line drawing tool, and there's a trend line, and then we'll add a button, and then we'll do Fibonacci retracements. Now that should be how they are set up right here, and this is turned off now. Now every chart will have these. You'll just have to lock them on every chart if that's how you want them to be. Okay. So now the other thing we're going to do on this is we do not want this volume down here because we're going to put in a custom volume. So I'm going to check that off, okay? Now these are some of the things for the other charts you probably want to have on, but I don't want corporate actions on a 1-minute chart. The time axis expand area, I'll just put it 10. Okay, apply. And price axis, I don't know, you don't need any of that stuff, so that should all be how we want it. Now we can pan this over to see where price action stopped, and then we can expand it if we want right here, and then we go up and down. So again, if you're not, this isn't a whole Thinkorswim tutorial, but if you left click, you can do that. If you push the control button down and do that, you can move the whole thing at once, right? And then you can also use this bar down here to move things around, or you can use the pan to just move things around, and you can kind of use the pan to do whatever you want. I find this to be a really intuitive layout. Or you can just grab onto, I don't have an arrow, so I use this. You can just left click, drag over the area you want, and boom, it's expanded. And then wherever you are, if you want to go back, you can just go to auto zoom, and it's going to take you back to the position that it's at, which is basically time frame of 1 day, 1 minute. That's why it didn't go back. If you want to make longer time frames, you could do that, say okay, and then you could do, well, now it's messing up, but now you can pan, do that. You can left click. I'm not surprised it's not letting me. And then you auto zoom again. So those are just basically how you move things around, but hopefully you know that stuff, right? So now we're going to go on and get stuff inside here by going into the studies. So we're going to want to do your SMAs. We want to make sure our SMAs are on this chart, okay? So daily SMAs right here, the ones that is not my custom ones, you don't need those. So add, 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 and then we're going to get in here and do EMAs. There they are. So we'll do 3 of those. And then we're going to do the VWAP. And of course, there's a big debate if it's the VWAP or the VWAP. I prefer the VWAP. And then we move that over. Now, when we get into these, apply all 3 of those. They're on the charts now. Now we're going to change all these. So first of all, I should have started with these because I want my smaller moving averages to be at the top. And these are going to be smaller numbers. And now all default is at 9. That's 9 candles of whatever chart you're on, okay? And we're going to go ahead and click in here, and we're going to make that EMA a gray color. Now you can go down here to get different colors. So I think I have mine at the gray up there. Yeah. So we'll make that gray. Okay. And then we'll make it 2. So the thick width is 2. But other than that, I don't need anything else marked on that. Say okay. Now we're going to go to this, and this is going to be the 14. Okay. And I have a cat halfway on my keyboard here. So this is going to be 2. And we're going to make that kind of a pinkish color. So we'll do it right there. And we'll go ahead and say okay for that. Now we're going to go for this one is going to be the 20. So we'll go ahead and go in here and say 20. We'll go 2 again. And this is going to be a bright green color, sort of like here. That's pretty bright. It shows you down here. And say okay. Now that's built right here for this, and I'm going to say okay. And now we're going to go for the bigger one. So this is going to the lowest one on the SMA I do is a 50. So we'll do 50 here. We'll double it in size so you can see it on the chart better. And this is usually a darkish bright blue, like something like that, sort of along that color for me. And then we're going to go ahead and say okay. Now this is going to take a little longer because I'm showing you how to do a chart, and you guys should know how to do that. But if you don't, you're getting a bit of a lesson here. We'll make it a little bit brighter yellow here. Let's see what that is. Maybe even brighter. That's nice and bright there. And a 2, and I didn't make that. That's the 100. Okay. And now we do the 200 right here. That's going to be like a bright orange I usually do. Something like that. Let's see, a little brighter. That's pink. It's an interesting thing too, like everybody's eyes see different oranges, and particularly I found it with orange and like pink or red, that there'll be arguments. That's not pink, that's not red, that's chartreuse, that's wine. Whatever it might be. Okay, so okay there, and make this a 2. And now we've got those in there. Now the last one is the VWAP. I make that up. Now these are important. You want to check these upper and lower bands. Well, I mean, I check these off. So again, I'm building it like you're going to see it. Okay. And the colors don't matter because they're checked off. Here we keep it on. We'll do a 2. This is the main VWAP, which at any given time is supposed to be the value of the stock. So let me see if I can get a little bit brighter red there. We'll do that one there. Now they're all applied, and there we have it. Okay. So now I'm going to save this as a completely laid out one with all the custom indicators. So I'm just going to keep going here. But this would be the time, if you don't want custom indicators and you just want the basic moving averages on your chart, that you'd want to go to your save this study here. So you go under the studies to save it. And yeah, right here's that where you do that. Yeah, so you'd say, you could save as set if you wanted to right here. Or you could go back to here where I said, say, you could save the style and name it, and then this always go back to this. So I already have a whole bunch of these saved. So that's why if I push load style, you'll see all these. It would be there under load style, whatever you want to save. So we're going to move on. I'm showing you how to do the setup here. So let's get into the study guide here, and we're going to go into some customs here. So now we're going to go to MMC, and this is going to bring up all the custom indicators, and hopefully you have a bunch of these already, but if you don't, I know they sell them all set up now. I'm putting on the ones that I'm going to use. If you don't want them, you don't want them. It's up to you. I feel that these are the ones that are the best for this strategy, so that's why I'm going to use these. So I have made some changes here, and I'll tell you why you don't really need to make these changes. But because there's so many indicators with so many alarms, and with the sort of buffering or the delay on YouTube with me coming in versus when you've just seen the price action that I'm talking about past, you'll hear my alarms along with yours, and it was confusing the trader as we were testing it, like, wow, I don't know what alarm just went off. Is that yours or mine or whatever? So I've taken off the alarms. I'm saved only one alarm, and that is for the volume. I really need to have that. The others, I can look at the arrows. I just get distracted sometimes when there's no volume. So, I mean, I definitely have kept that one on. So to save time, I went ahead and loaded all these, okay? So here's what I normally trade with. The risk oscillator, this now has no alerts, okay? The MACD, so this is the one that works, MACD works on EMA crossovers, so, you know, divergence. So that is no alert as well. And then the multi-time alignment with no labels, that's the one that has the vertical lines that go up and down that are marked every 5 minutes, but then point out the 15-minute intervals and the 1 hour and the 4 hour intervals. The buy-sell oscillator, okay, so this one is working on RSI, whether it's overbought or oversold. So these two in concert become very, very valuable. And I talked to you about which ones I respect more depending on when the arrow shows up a lot. Then I have the new ATR multi-range. So this is going to have half the daily range, high and lows, and the full daily range, high and lows. So that's a newer indicator. But if you buy any ATR, you'll get that. You'll get all the different versions now are all updated. And then I have the whole and half dollar. This is just handy because it's all about trading with the crowd, and knowing where every half dollar is and every whole dollar is really helps you determine when to go in or go out based on those. It's sort of like very, very current historical data, like people just gravitate at those price levels, so you want to trade with the crowd. And then I have the multi-chart alignment again that is labels only on the lower part of the 1 minute chart. And then I have the ScalpMeter Pro. This has less alerts. The only alert I have activated on that is the volume alert. So this is going to make it much quieter when I'm trading, so it hopefully won't interfere with you guys trading as much. So I've applied everything now, okay, and there it is across. Oh, that's the wrong ATR. So let me go in and fix that right now, because I don't want the labels up there. So that should be ATR with no labels. Yeah, here it is. Multiple range, no labels. So we'll put that in. That should be right at the bottom. I like to keep the whole and half dollar at the bottom because that's the only one that I change often, and I want to know right where to find it. Now that makes that chart much less crowded up there. So now you could save this and say save style and say, you know, include patterns, remember, and then say, you know, like loaded 1 minute. Oops. Right, so let me capitalize that L. It bothers me. Nope, because I hit the cap button instead of the shift button. All right, loaded. So now that's saved. And then if you were to go into the style, load style, you'll see that I have the 1 minute, what is that under? Yeah, there it is. So I was looking right at it. So now if you just click that, it would reload. We don't need to do that because it's loaded in there. So that is the 1 minute all ready to go. Now if you double click here, this closes. A lot of people don't know that. The other way you can do it is to just go maximize and then go back in and go minimize or restore cells. So now it's a big mess over here. All of a sudden, I'm not sure why that just happened, but just by the way I clicked it, I guess. Interesting, huh? So now I've got all that 1 minute laid out. Now down here, we're going to go right on and we're going to do our news here, okay? So here's our, first of all, we don't need to lock that in because this isn't a chart. So sometimes you just have to move these up. So we're putting news there and we're getting rid of the chart. So that's how you do that, okay? And then down here, we're going to build our day chart. So to speed up, I've gone ahead and set up the day so you can see. So what we have on the day is the ATR multiple range with the labels, so you can quickly glance over there when you're setting up for the day. And then I have that free script that's over at the $1 Million Margin Club that you should get. I quickly want to look at that. And then I have the ATR. So that's the free script. That's telling me that average 1 minute in one day average, so a quick glance, and then a 10-day. Often I will switch stocks to look around after the scanner. I will look right here and I'll see, and I'll look at the range of the ATR, although the scanner's telling me, and then I'll look at this too, and then I quickly click. So since the scanner's told me at one point, so as an example, let me go in to show the scanner. I think it's this the one I want. No, that's not what I want. I guess it is here. Yeah, so load query. So we're looking for the professor's scanner here. Give me a second here, guys. So this is professor's teaching scalping scanner. I think this is the one that they're selling over there. Professor's custom momentum stum. That's misspelled. Okay. Yeah, this looks like the right one. So just to go through what I would do here, hopefully you've got this one because it won't be in the layout. But basically, oh yeah, then you want to go here and make sure you load this. You set this up so that your columns are correct, okay? So now this is going to be the percentage from the high. It's going to be the 1 minute candle volume over a 10-day average and the 1 minute candle volume over a 1 day average. Usually I have this like over here like this, something like that. And this is all the information I really need. I don't need to know about hard or easy to borrow on these because this is a large cap. And then I will double click this just to make sure our volume is in the right order. But basically, I've looked at these stocks, like I'm making note of this, what I might want to consider looking at. I base that a lot on the ATR size, which is not here. Okay, so why is that not loading the ATR size? I thought that would be part of this right here. What am I missing? Wow, that's too bad. I thought that was saved. Let me just fix that real quick. So hopefully on yours, well, you're going to put these columns across the top, right? So restore. Did that move in there? ATR. Yeah. No, we want that like, well, at the bottom's fine. And say, okay. So that popped in there. So often, so I'll look at that like right here. In this area when I'm looking at volume. So now it's set that it's only 2 above. Anything above 2 is going to be active. But, I know like when I trade Tesla, I probably want to go lower share size and be much more careful with the price action. God, look at that. That's craziness right there. But some of these others like NVIDIA, I kind of know the range is much safer. This one's pretty intense too for that high of a volume. So, and these are all the ones that come into play. So I'm kind of looking for that medium ATR for safer trading, just so you know. But my point is that I would go to the day chart and I would just I'd remember the titles and then I'd just start typing them in up here. And I hope that my picture hasn't been blocking anything as I talk about it. I don't think so. I did put social media back up. I mean, that's under, is that a time? No, maybe it is under. No, equities. Yeah, here it is. Social sentiment. I mean, I do take a glance at that, just especially if I see a new stock and I just want to get an overall feel of it. But generally, I don't use that, but it's more from my swing trading days that I absolutely use that. But, this has the ATR set up, and then it has that free script that gives you that average. I told you how I use it. And then it has the ATR up here, so I can take a quick assessment at a range here, too, and see where we're at. And all of this stuff really helps on a quick day chart assessment. So that's how that is set up normally here. And I usually will leave the news as you see it. So I can see 3 or 4 lines of the news. Let me get this down a little lower. And, you know, something like this. All right, so now let's get over here and set these puppies up. So this is going to end up being an active trader. Yeah, let me get this grid back on because I am going to want to get rid of this on all of them. So we don't need this click down because we're doing something different here. We're going to do the active trader, which is right here. I'm going to get rid of the level 2. And oops, what happened there? Did I not get rid of the level 2? There we go. And get rid of the chart. Okay. So this is what our active trader looks like, right? Now we're going to set this up, which keys that I have up here, right? So I don't want that. I don't want reverse. We'll keep flat and we'll put the buttons up here. We don't need this. Put editor for this type of trading. And then some of the other stuff that we have on here is, so we have on here, buy the bid and sell the ask. I had a good question about that, about why do I do that on a tight stock. I tend to do this more for like a wide ATR, wide spread. I will, instead of sell the bid, and I will buy the bid, and rather than buy the ask, I will sell the ask to get in and out. And that's from high spreads scaring me. But and then typically I will hit market on that opening candle. I'll do market a lot. I was trying to show you guys, you know, I got hurt on market one time, so I was trying to show you guys a safer way to trade. But if you do want to get it filled, it's better to do the opposite. At this point, we'll keep it this way, but it was a good point that he brought up, and thank you for that. And for this style of trading, we might want to consider doing something a little bit different. So you can drag these over, or you can click on them and do it this way too. So I think that's, yeah, now we want to get the time and force over here too, and that should be down here. Where did it go? Oh no, we have to add item. So now the time and force is right there, and we're going to want to mark this too. So I think that's pretty much how I have it set. Oh, it's still the flatten key still there. I don't want the flatten. Oh, I don't want to do that either. Cancel. I want to do this. So I thought I took that off. Get that off of there. Oh no, I do want that on. I'm sorry, I do. I normally don't with the RV strategy, but yes, I do, because I always reverse. So yeah, this is important. So that's on now, and let's get inside here and make sure you have set this on auto send. That's really important. And then you'll see that the way I do these over here is I will take that off and I'll move that up. Often it will not save that way, and this is how I have mine set up. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and go into the level 2 here. So let's get this chart marked green, and level 2, get rid of the chart, get rid of the sidebar. I'm not going to make any adjustments to this at this point. Okay, and now we have 3 different charts, okay, that we're going to do. None of these charts have any custom indicators on them. All right, so there's a 30-minute, a 1 hour, and a 4 hour here. So we've already got it on charts, so I'll set off these, and I'm going to go ahead and load pre-loaded ones, but they're pretty clean. What am I doing here? I want to go here. Load style. So our first one is a 30-minute, so we'll just load the 30-minute in there. And then our next one is a 1 hour, so we'll load style for 1 hour. And then our next one is a 4 hour, so we'll load style for the 4 hour. This is about as fast as I can do this, guys, without, it's showing you what I'm doing, okay? So we want the sidebar off of that. So now these are all going to be set up. You know, they're pretty good. Now there's all kinds of stuff you can do on your setting to make this key, this look different here. If you want to, you know, how you want to do these here. So right now I'm just going to leave it at the default, which is how this comes up right here for share size. And it's pretty useful. And then we're going to go ahead and finish these two charts over here. So I've gone ahead and sped us up and put in the two custom indicators that are on this 5-minute, 10-day time increment chart. This is set at 5-minute, 10-day, okay? So this is the market pulse. I find this really, really helpful to look at sort of the breadth of the market, how are things going, and I put it on a 5-minute increment. 1 minute seemed a bit fast, and since we're scalping anything higher than 5 minutes, maybe you do really want to see how it's moving within a 5-minute period. That's up to you guys, but this has the QQQ, the SPY, TLT bonds, and then of course the UVXY, which is your fear index sort of. And then down here is your ADX, which is going to tell you your trends. And I've taken the alerts off again on this because this was bothering people. Now, this doesn't come into play as much, and I also put it on a 5-minute because I'm looking for a little bit bigger trend than a 1 minute, because whatever time increment you put it on, that's how it's going to read it. So remember that, guys. So that's how the 5-minute is done. And now we'll head to the last chart here. So I went ahead and loaded this up off of Save. So this is a 15-minute, 10-day. Okay, that's all it is. It's just a 15-minute, 10-day. So I can see a little bit bigger moves in the market. So when you see me come on, it's going to all look like something like this. How I gauge the size of this is usually making these buttons be in the right way that I want them. I can see that I have this differently. I have this cancel all below these two like that, like just before the flatten. Actually, that makes sense. That was the one mistake I made. I tried to flatten and I had an open position and I was like, why isn't it picking it up? So it bothered me. So we're shrinking this down. I still make mistakes, guys, no matter how long I trade. Too many things going on in the brain. So let's see here. So that would be something you'd see me usually start at about 200 shares. This would be basically what it would look like. I might have this, I usually have 3 lines. This can go a little lower, something like that. Now, I'm going to get into talking about these custom indicators for those of you that want to stay and how I would use them for the perfect entry, especially if you don't have the PDT rule, and what I would suggest for that. So if you want more detail on how I use these and why I have these on this layout, then stick around. I will make this layout, I will make a link for this layout for free, but hopefully you watched it and you learned how to build it. So stick around for the next thing we're going to get into. Okay, guys, so the beauty of this 1 minute chart with this indicators on it is it tells you so much about when to get in and when to get out. Yes, the other indicators like what is the Q doing and the SPY doing? I mean, that's important to glance over at. But in the moment, when you expand this pretty big, when you're trading, you know, this is going to tell you how to trade along with the crowd, right? So what do we have here? We have a $0.50 mark here. See how well that was respected even in the after market here? See that line there? So marking half and whole dollars is something you want to look at. Here you see the ATR level. Again, these are support and resistance levels, so knowing where they are before you take that trade helps you take the trade, and it also helps you set sort of a position that you might want to get out on. That is the higher ATR. So we know just by those 2 lines that since aftermarket started, that the price action went, it went up through the day. So let's take a quick look on that 5 minute and see if that's telling you the right thing. Well, not much, but yeah, it went up some here. because your ATR from the previous day is down here. So it definitely went up overall. This is NVIDIA, so it didn't close there, huh? It closed up, thought it would close somewhere around 58, 59. That's what I said on Friday when I was trading it. So very close. I knew it was going to end up higher. Here's where we started, so I knew it was going to end up higher. I don't know anything, okay? But I mean, I thought it was going to end up higher. When I say the verbiage like that, guys, remember. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor. So anyway, this part right here, support and resistance is the number one thing. And then you're going to, of course, you see me mark intraday historical data levels, meaning historical can just be a few minutes before. So intraday support and resistance levels. They aren't as respected, and some people think they're worthless. I do not think that. And if you watch me trade large caps, because they are probably more worthless on mid cap and mini micro caps, but on large caps and mega caps, I have found that there's a huge percentage of the support and resistance levels that can be respected. So that's why I mark them, and you'll see me use them all the time, and you'll see how I use them all the time. So that's up for you guys to debate if you want to mark them or not, but that's what I would do, something like that. I mean, I wouldn't do too many on the aftermarket, but you look at where it kind of stopped there, and look, it stopped again. So tell me that wasn't respected. Is it something else weird that made that do that? But now you have your buy-sell oscillator turning it around, and you have your MACD sending it up when it was down here. And it worked, and it worked. They called it, and it did it. So these are two indicators that you have on this chart that are helping you predict the direction of the stock, right? Now let's look at this. Let's look at this one right here. See these vertical lines going up? So this is the multi-chart alignment, right? Now you have it down here. Every person trading on a 5-minute chart, they see a green candle. A 15-minute, they see a red candle. 30-minute green, 1 hour green, 4 hour green. There's a lot of people that only trade on those time increments. A lot of people. And then all of a sudden, when the candle changes, they jump in or jump out. A lot of them do that. So wouldn't it make sense to know that to help? It might move the actual direction of the price action. So again, this is on this chart for two different reasons. You see the overall move of these all at once, but then it shows you in vertical lines, right, when every 5-minute closes. Why is that? There is a lot of people that trade on the 5-minute. And it's almost like clockwork when the candle just before closes there, that it goes the direction of that candle, right? It might not stay for a long time, but it gives you a leg up, see? Well, this one actually was down, but it went up. It's really hard on the aftermarket, but if you look when you're trading, you're going to see how trading with the crowd, all these different things. So as you get to these higher time increments, you can see there's a 15-minute there in black, but it also you'll see a 1 hour and a 30-minute right there, and then I don't know what happened to the 1 hour, but there's the 4 hour. Am I missing the 1 hour? I don't know. Anyway, there it is there. It's just weird that it didn't pop up again. Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, because there it is. Okay. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so more and more traders, you get to respect this level more and more as you know more and more traders will probably make a move. There's a lot more. All those 5-minute people, 15-minute and 30-minute people are there. And then at the 4 hour, you have all the 1 hour people too, So, yeah, it's not guaranteed. It's just one more thing why I say this 1-minute chart is so important to have these things marked out. And that's why I've made them on the way I want to trade and teach you. So you don't have to pay for them to get them if you don't want them. I'm sure most of you have them already. Or you can maybe take note of it without them being on here. I highly recommend it, but that's up to you. And I have links to them, and it does help support the channel if you go through the link. Okay. Now, what else is on here? And these two are usually sold together. And now I gave each of these free. I gave all of these free at one point. So I know a lot of you get them when they first come out, and then they go over, then they're sold, and then I can't give them for free anymore. Although I was just talking with them that, I'm going to probably be doing some of the ones even that they sell for free from time to time, and they're okay with that because they like the idea of getting you over there to buy their books and then to buy some of the indicators you don't have. So there's nothing wrong with companies making money in capitalism, in my opinion, although I have a lot of friends that would argue that capitalism's bad, but we're not going to go down that road. So supporting people, it's not a bad thing, but you don't have to get them. And like I say, you can get things here for free, and I'm pretty open share, but then I do make money eventually and sell them off. So I will keep trying to help you for the people that can't afford it. But if you can't afford it, please support myself and the affiliates that I'm working with. So now let's talk about this engine, these two, right? I recently added this. It's not absolutely necessary to have. It's mostly for this style of trading. This doesn't kick off till the market opens. It'll say 0 right before the market opens. All right, and then it kicks up and it cumulatively keeps track of all these. This is going to turn blue and have an alert. The only alert that I kept up when the volume is higher on the current candle than the last candle. So as it's moving a certain direction, it's going to say it's a lot stronger moving that direction. Good to know. This is always telling you if the VWAP, if the EMA 14 is above or below the VWAP. It will, if it's not moving, if the price action isn't moving in a direction, this just goes off. But if it's moving in a direction, it's going to show you that it's still green. Like if it's going down but it hasn't crossed over the VWAP, it probably won't light up. But if it's going up and it's crossed over the VWAP, it will turn green, saying there's support above the VWAP. The second it's starting head down toward the VWAP, even though it's above it, it will turn off. Again, it depends on how you trade. It's really helpful to know this stuff, guys, when you're coming in and out of short positions. Now, two different things here. This has got a meter that's moving back and forth, showing you what the price action is inside the candlesticks here. Why are they not showing here, actually? Oh, here, they're down here. Okay. So these candlesticks right now are these volume bars are really tiny because there's no volume on the aftermarket. But let's go ahead and get, so you can see, if you're new to this indicator, why I use this, and we'll tell you how I use these in concert. So this is showing you the buyers inside the volume. This is showing you the sellers in the moment, updated every few seconds, right? So not only can you see how volume, which is only what most people see, they don't see this other stuff. You can see how the volume's getting stronger with certain price action, right? And then the candle will mimic this. That's what it's doing, right? So, and that all reconciles in a split second. So, I mean, this is showing you what the strength is, and I'll tell you about how I've learned to read this. That's really helpful. And then I just showed you earlier in the video how later this week you'll be able to get, if you just want the seller or just want the buyer to show, depending on how you trade. Those are going to be over there free for a while with a little bit different labels, but they're kind of cool to get. But anyway, this is revolutionary as far as scalping, knowing this information in that moment when you're trying to decide to get in or out, hold. This is so important. And it works in concert with this. This is fairly new. I designed, prop firms were asking me for this to help train people. And also I put out a new level 2, the first indicator that will read momentum on level 2. It's really reading level 1. It specifically says how it's reading it. But you see the, I don't have that up here because I'm not going to use it to show. I don't want you guys to get confused, but if you know how to use it, it might help you to have that indicator. So I'm just going to stop talking about it. But this risk oscillator here shows you the last 9 candles and what direction did they close and what is the move, average move, or what was the move when it closed. And then this is giving you the average. So now pre-market, you can see this isn't much movement. But if you were going to go short, it sets a target range of don't go short more than 3 or 4 cents. Get out. Don't go long more than 1 or 2 cents. Get out. Obviously, you want this to be like 8 cents, 12 cents, 15 cents. You don't want it to be that tight. But and that's going to encourage you to sell the ask and buy the bid. By the way, from my earlier conversation, when you're looking at the tighter this gets and you're only making pennies, you don't want the spread or the market to actually make you lose money, for those of you that understand what I'm saying. But this is really helpful because it's called the risk oscillator. So I'm going to tell you about how to decide when to go in. But that aside, this tells you when to go out. There's never been an indicator like this before. This is amazing. And you're going to learn to just start to read this. Here you'll see how many cents right here per share. So when you say I'm only going 4 cents down, it's going to tell you 1, 2. You'll see it climb when it gets to 3. Maybe just get out. Now that doesn't mean that it won't keep going and you could have made more money, right? You could always make more money, but you can also lose the profit that you did have. So you kind of have to decide whether this is just too tight, right? But if you were making 8 to 10 cents here on 200 shares, that's enough of a quick scalp, right? And then look for the next trade, which could be just moments away, and do it again. You might jump right back in the same direction, do it again, so or wait for the candle to close and do it again, so you'll see me do that a lot with the RV strategy. I'll wait for the next candle and then I'll do it again, and I'm using a lot of channel trading there. This effectively created a channel. See what happened? Channel trading is something that you start to look to see how it works, and then the more and more you see it, the more and more you can respect it, but it can always break it. So I always put my eye on the next channel or whole and half dollar to say, am I adding to my position? And then I'm watching the book, the price flow as it's moving, and deciding, do I just want to cut my losses with the lower position, or do I want to wait? Because as it's getting near it, I'm seeing that it's going down more than up. So I'm watching the price flow, and it's like, hey, I'm going to jump in there, and maybe it'll go a little higher. But the way that it was moving, it's going to give me an opportunity to get out for even money, or maybe even a little bit of green, because it pulled my position so high up. So that's sort of a nuance you have to learn before you add to your position. And I did talk about that several times during this video. And then you can watch me trade, or just stay in that position and get out. And you don't have to wait for your max loss. You don't. If it's not looking good, you're not feeling good about it, get out. So there's just not. I see a lot of people do that. Well, wasn't that my max loss yet? I've had these conversations, and I'm like, but did you think it was going to keep going against you? I mean, did all data point to it going against you? Just get out. Don't wait for your max loss. I'm guilty of it too. That's why I kind of make fun of it. Usually whenever I'm making fun of somebody, I'm making fun of myself, just so you guys know. This will be the total P&L here. But these two in concert, this is telling you when to get in. This is telling you when to get out. Now let's talk about everything combined here, right? Now I would look over here and I would see, which way is the market biased before I go into the trade, especially if I'm thinking of averaging down. I would look here to say, is there a trend? What is the trend? So I do a quick glance here, right? And then it's all here. It's here, but it's all right here, what I'm looking at to make these trades. So kind of in a circle, I'm watching this, right? So if this was coming up here to a level, right, on an upward swing, and volume broke the level as it climbed up, and that was green and heading away from the VWAP, these, for the most part, all multi-chart alignment was all green. I would look for it to break that level. I would look to go in that trade, because it's so strong. Now, I don't know what that showed just before that, because this is referring to this candle, not this candle. But what would have made me take pause from just going into that trade, because the MACD also sent it up, right? And I really respect that MACD. And I've told you many times, the buy-sell oscillator, the main way I use that is not for the up moves. This is it. Look, it did go up a little, but not really. This lighter green is this. This also has indicators, okay? Neither of those, I have found that neither of those are as helpful going up. MACD is very helpful going up. So when I see that, it usually does not, I mean, there's never always, right? So I'm saying usually from my watching these. But the buy-sell oscillator, right, based on RSI, not EMA, overbought in this case, I have found you can really respect. When it sends it down, I learned to listen to it. It did go down here. It did go down here. This one, it didn't. But mostly it would go down before it goes up. So everything was going my way. Like if this was strong on this candle, I don't know if it was, but let's just say it was, and it broke the volume. Everything's going my way. I'm, 75% sure I want to go in here, right? But what I would do is that would tell me that would be the 25% that I would not want to go in here when I saw that flash up right before I'm like, go in, and then I'm looking at my target, right? Geez, I don't have much of a target here to go in. I mean, unfortunately, this isn't a good time to look, but giving you the thought process for scalping, guys. But then the next thing I would look at, right, is I would look at this channel, right? Look at this channel being respected here, right? So what is my real risk here, right? So 57.64 down to 57.50, 14 cents. So if I went into 200 shares there, it spiked and turned around, what would I do when it came down? Then how far did it really go? How much danger was I really in? 28 bucks danger right there, 28 bucks. And then it came back in, and I'm really only, 6 cents danger here. And then I'm in my position still. I don't think I would have averaged into my position here. Not yet. There'd be another level down here. If I got in the trade and I was stuck, I'd be looking a little deeper for another level down here that might average me up to this position in my actual cost basis right in here, so I could get out. But I would be watching everything. So I wanted to show you how. Now, another way down here, things you need to look at when you get learning to read this. Look through these, sort of look through the mess here a little bit and see what is the pattern of the volume. Look at the pattern of the volume itself as one thing to look at, and see overall, it was buyers, but it was dropping. This pattern was dropping. So you have to look at that. And not a lot of confidence as we got into this telling me to go up. Not a lot of confidence there, right? So I would have looked at that, and now it would have been only 60% sure, Like, that's not looking too good right there, if it was right there, I'm not sure I would have gone in that trade, because now I can see. And another thing to look at is how close is it to the top? Like right here, confidence would have been very high when that candle closed. As it turned out, it didn't work out too well. But my confidence is higher when it goes to the top. You can see each one of these were wrong. Pre-market you can't, or aftermarket is really hard. But normally you'll see that you've got some time when it's at the top. They're not just going to drop down off so far. You've got some time to be wrong and average in to your full position. So normally it's stronger when it's at the top to go the direction it was going. And it's less confidence when it didn't make it to the top. This certainly called it right. Didn't make it. And then down here, whatever else was happening, I don't know, was driving that up. You throw it in the mix, guys. you throw it in the mix. So that's a little bit of how you would read, how I would read price action, how I would suggest reading it for the live streaming I'm doing. So just, hopefully that made sense to you guys. So now if you're just long biased, if you're just going to trade long, let's look at this sort of a different way. Kind of the same way, but a different way. Let me get into open market so we can see what the price action was like. Okay, let's get like maybe, of course, this thing's now out of control because now there's actual volume here. Now, these are going to coincide with what candles are right above it, but let's take a look at, this is a really good level to take a look at so you can see. Although, I guess I am cherry picking, but we could pick anywhere just to see. So let's say you've been waiting and you can only do 2 or 3 trades a week, and you're waiting for that perfect setup. Let's try to find you a perfect setup. Any one of these, the ones that are turning around, are pretty good to go long. But let's just see. This is just so choice to take a long trade right here, right there as it banged up. This is an ATR, so it's retesting it. It broke through it over here somewhere, right? And now it's retesting the ATR, swailing down, and it retested it, right? So you look at it, and then it just kept going up for a while. But this is the moment right here. So let's take a look at what the volume was. So the sellers lost massive confidence, even though the volume was really high. See right there? That's the candle before. That actual candle is basically telling you that this is a sign that says that it's going to turn around right here. And it banged the ATR and went back up. Now you started right above it, you banged it as it came back up. This would be the point. Now you don't have any other indicators, so it's not perfect, but it's a pretty good indication to go in long based on the ATR level. You're right at the VWAP too, guys. Now I don't know if the VWAP was exactly right here when this happened, but this was. So this, if you jumped into this move, even if you went a little late, like say you waited for it to get above this level and you broke in right here, it's like, I trust this now. This is a reversal sign, and it's banged off the ATR. Somewhere in here, you're also right at the even dollar. I didn't even see that at first. So you've got the even dollar telling you it's over too. So I would get in somewhere, probably right in here for my one long trade, 157.04. All right, so you've got it all the way up here. So if you dumped all your shares in, like 500 shares or something, whatever you can afford all in one trade, well, you probably can't. So you probably have like a $5,000 account. So if you had a $5,000 account and you can only do like, that many trades. So let's just do some quick math for you here. Oops, that's 50,000. Divided by, what are we at, 157? So you can only do 31 shares. So it's a slow build up, but say you got 30 shares in here because you had your 5,000, and then you made this move, and somewhere in here, the MACD sent you back up at the VWAP. So if you held strong somewhere around the 14 or maybe even all the way to the 20, you got out, but you could be holding it still, because you're still green. So you might be waiting for a bigger move, and just like if I'm still green, I'm going to stay in my one trade that I can take until it's starting to do more leveling down than up. See, it really happened here. So you wouldn't want to wait. You'd want to have a goal. So when you went in this trade, I don't know what this was, what this level, the target was, but it was probably, this average candle moved, what's the range of that candle right there? The range, where's the range? Range is 26 cents right there. So this one, the average range was only 14 down. So probably, unfortunately, we can't see how this is working, but probably you had a 10 cent to 15 cent range to go up. So this would have been a winning trade. With 31 shares, you don't have a lot. You might have, this is a good setup no matter when you go in, right here. I'd almost call this an automatic win. I mean, I know I see it going up, but I'm just saying this level, as it banked off it, I would have jumped in for something, and probably your volume broke right in here and it went jing jing, because of that so low. So you got even some confirmation like, hey, it's going up. So I think that this would have been really good for me. And the reason why I might have held it longer is because of, remember we talked about the vertical lines? This is telling me that it's going to continue. So it did go down, but you had the MACD and you had a sign that it's going to go up. So if you wait for a bigger move, you might have wanted to stay in it. You might even wanted to stay in it to here. And then somewhere in here, nope, even there with that same logic, you're still right here. This is the first time where if you're going by that, this is telling you to get out. It's not most likely done. But if you learn to read the multi-chart alignment, and then along with the scalping indicator, this is a good spot to go long. But if you did that other stock, which we were looking at, the scanner that's cheaper, here's the cheap one, right? And somebody had mentioned in the chat they did really good with this HIMS. So let's go back to the charts and do HIMS just to get, I'll help you guys a little. Really? So let's zoom in on this. We'll go in the middle of this day and just see what we have for price action. Luckily, the whole $0.50 went right with us here. So wow, we've got some good price action here, man. What's our typical range here? This is range is 20 cents. Huh? So this isn't bad. So you had a similar happen with the ATR right here. It made a big move. Remember we just talked about that? That ATR is a very respected level. The MACD sent it around with you. So here's another example. And I don't want you to only look for ATRs, but I mean, this is just calling out top of the volume as it went up. This was weakening. The volume was weakening with the sellers. And already had one reversal sign. Broke through it. Somewhere after it broke it up again, I would have been in this move. And that move would have moved, let's say 49, say it's worse, say you got it at 49.15, you waited till it broke the top of that candle, so 49.15, and you just no reason to get out till maybe right in this area where you're getting some reversal signs. So that's 35 cents. And now on this stock, if you held it, what's the price? $50. So if you had $5,000, you would have had 100 shares. So you would have had, that would have been a $50 trade right there. So, it adds up, man, guys. It adds up. Is that right, 50, or is it 500? It's not 500 because it only went up. 100 went up 50 cents. Yeah. So $50. So you get 3 trades like that a week. You're getting $150 a week. You're slowly building up your account. I mean, unfortunately, it's an arduous process. If you don't have some help to get the PDT. Here's another level. Well, I would have gone long. I'm just looking for only long now, and nothing here is. I mean, that is a tweezer move right there. Sketch on the price action. So you're looking for like the perfect entry. So you want multi-chart alignment. You want so this is really good as this worked up here. Let's take a look at this. So you're banging off of this $50 mark, and it really respected it until it finally broke out. This would have scared me, but if I jumped in this position as it broke these levels, look at that. That would have told me to stay in the move. So this is right at the top, that's right at the top, that's right. This also would have told me to stay in. But as I saw this break it down, a reversal, and it closed that way, and the next one was like, I definitely would have got out in here somewhere. So this is 41, and you got in at, down here. So you got in at 31 cents. 31 cent move right there. Easy to call. Nothing's for sure, obviously, but that was pretty easy to call in the moment. That would have been easy to call, I think. So that's what you're looking for the perfect setup. You're looking for as many indicators, historical data, and book price flow action to align. And that's what you want to do if you're trying to build your account and based on these indicators. If you already have the PDT and you're trading along with me on the stream, remember, I'm not a financial advisor. You know, anything can happen at any time. So you need to really police yourself and decide on your own trades. I don't know how bad this delay is going to hurt us, but this would have been a good stock for you guys to trade that don't have the full account size. You know, unfortunately, I wouldn't have been here calling them for you, but I'm trying to show you how you can do it yourself based with the indicators in a store. I would have obviously marked levels here, you know, as we went along here. You know, I would have been marking levels. I'll just stay on a second longer just to show you, you know, the regular levels that may or may not be respected, but because they're intraday, they're not as powerfully respected. But look at that, keep going up. So this tweezer move, I probably would have marked right here a level to watch later in the day as it broke through here, broke down, broke up. I don't think I would have marked this. Definitely the ATR right here. Look at how the ATR said, hey, you should go up at the ATR. Hey, you should go down now. We're at the top. You know, I mean, these are everybody sets the range of the ATR, either one or the other of these usually. So it's trading with the crowd to trade off the ATR. Look, boom, again, you know, this time it didn't make it all the way up, but, you know, you could have waited for that entire move as it broke that, as it broke. Just see like you're always green here. You're still green here. You're still green going, I'm just going to hold it. Now it's up here. It's consolidating more off that ATR. Probably get out on one of these bounces in here because it's just, you know, don't wait till it gets down here. Just it's telling you it's out. You've made a good trade. So here's a longer trade to hold. So 51.83. And you got it down here at 49.15. So that's with 100 shares. So now you have a way better, like $150 trade. And I think that when you have small account you're trying to grow, it is better to look at those bigger moves based off ATR. That's almost like RV strategy here rather than scalping the way I showed you. So there's different ways to look at it. I'm not going to just cherry pick something and say, go in here, go out here. I mean, you see those videos and it's like they didn't actually take that trade, right? They're telling you after. So I have to explain it so that it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense here, it's not, you know, it's not going to always bounce off your ATRs, right? So you need other things to look at, but it's a good starting point to play the ATRs like that, right? Okay, guys, very long video. I hope you've watched this all, especially if you're new. I will make this indicator, this layout available here on the link. I do want to direct you over to get the free ones. They're not going to be over there till probably Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. I am planning to go to still do a delayed release video prepping for the streaming. So look for that. Hopefully that'll come out tomorrow, barring any difficulties I might have trying to set it up. But okay, guys, listen, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Always be inquisitive and stay green out there. Go green.